Welcome everyone to the Simon Show. We've got more transfer market updates coming our way. Now, you might be asking yourself why there are so many transfer market updates even though we're in October and the transfer market session starts in January. Well, obviously these transfer market updates are not 100% gonna happen. Some of them will, but some of them won't happen, and that's what we have to expect. But it is a positive sign to see Thiago Pinto and the Fredkins moving and already looking forward for the players they already want to buy. Because that means that they are studying how Roma plays and they're trying to find out those pieces of this puzzle which are missing, and then in January they can buy them. So it's a really, really good positive sign seeing all of these transfer market updates. Now obviously, journalists love baiting us sometimes, right? And, some of these news are, if now we all read Ronaldo to Roma, that will be fake news. But these small, these players which are not that well known, like Cristiano Ronaldo, which are getting linked to Roma, have actually got a sense of reality in it. Because if you think about it, Roma needs a defensive midfield section. And who are they looking for? Dennis Zakaria. Roma want a right back because Korsdorp is not performing, Reynolds is too young and inexperienced, and in fact in this transfer market update we're seeing Roma pointing their eyes on Mazraoui from Ajax. So in this video, ladies and gentlemen, we will look at some transfer market updates when it comes to benefiting the club, players which Roma want to buy, and we're going to talk about Mazraoui from Ajax. And obviously players which Roma need to sell, because there are a few players Roma need to sell, and now, in these days, the player which stands out the most when it comes to being sold is Borja Mayoral. Now, I think Borja Mayoral is one of those players which can, many times he gets subbed in, and he with Fonseca, every time he got subbed in, there was an impact seen, he would score. However, I think, and we've seen this, that Mourinho plays in a very different way from Fonseca. And this way doesn't benefit Borja Mayoral. Now, I'm not too sure if it's the way Mourinho plays, if it's how the other players play and they don't have a good service for Borja Mayoral. I do not know that. But what we know up to now is that, Mourinho doesn't... It's kind of a controversial opinion, in my opinion, because what we're seeing now is Mourinho not letting Borja Mayoral play many matches. And that suggests that Mourinho doesn't like Borja Mayoral. But at the same time, Mourinho was the first one when this summer who was saying, I want to have 3 strikers. Don't you dare let Real Madrid, get Borja Mayoral because I need him. And he was the first one to say this. And now we're seeing Mourinho and Roma very, very close onto selling the ex-Levante player, Real Madrid player, Borja Mayoral. Now, Borja Mayoral is still effectively a Real Madrid player. So obviously, what Roma does with Borja Mayoral needs to be obviously accepted by Real Madrid as well. But, speaking about Borja Mayoral, and unlike Mazraoui, which are the 2 topics of this video, I'm going to say that Borja Mayoral is very, 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 very close onto leaving AS Roma because he wants to play more. And in my opinion, he kind of deserves a club which lets him play a teeny tiny bit more. So I do think Borja Mayoral will be sold in January. Now, there's a particular club in the Serie A which is interested onto Borja Mayoral, and this club is Fiorentina. Fiorentina are the surprise of this season. They've started such a good Serie A. They win every time they play a small club, and they almost risk to win every time they play a big club. They were on a lead against Inter. They were on a lead against Napoli, and then obviously they lost. But Fiorentina, in my opinion, is definitely the surprise of this tournament. However, a few days ago, 2 days ago, 1 day ago, Camiso, Fiorentina's president, said Vlahovic will not renew his contract. Vlahovic wants to leave. Vlahovic, in my opinion, is an extremely good player. And I understand why he wants to leave Fiorentina, because he wants a better opportunity. And this is exactly why Fiorentina, now that, Vlahovic's contract is coming to an end, Vlahovic is going to leave Fiorentina. Fiorentina are looking their eyes onto many other players. And an affordable player would be Borja Mayoral. And journalists say that he is very, very close onto joining Fiorentina on January, which in my opinion would benefit him. And, I think Roma won't lack Borja Mayoral, in a sense that if Roma sells Borja Mayoral, we're not, every time we lose a match without Borja Mayoral, we're not going to say, oh well, if Borja Mayoral was there, we're going to win. Because Borja Mayoral had such a small impact to Roma with Mourinho that we barely even noticed him playing. In fact, did he even play any matches? He probably played like 10 minutes in the Europa Conference League matches. That's exactly why Borja Mayoral needs a new club, because Jose doesn't like him at Roma. And Fiorentina are very close onto buying him. However, Fiorentina also pointed their eyes on Belotti, which in my opinion is better than Borja Mayoral, but obviously costs more. And for a club like Fiorentina, which is not a rich club, Borja Mayoral, in my opinion, can be a very, very, very good deal, which can definitely benefit their club in a good way. So we've got Borja Mayoral, he's ready to leave AS Roma. We're getting the impression that Mourinho doesn't like him and that he is not confident with Mourinho. He doesn't, every time he gets subbed in a way, the last 10-20 minutes in the Europa Conference League matches, he doesn't have a solid impact. And that's exactly why Mourinho is not keen on him, because yes, Borja Mayoral didn't have many minutes in his legs, but the 20 minutes he plays at the end of every Europa Conference League match, you expect a reaction from him. And Roma have not had it from Borja Mayoral. So I do expect Borja Mayoral leaving Roma in January, and we'll see where he goes. So we talked about Roma's transfer market when it comes to players which need to be sold. But we've got one player in particular which is circulating in AS Roma's journals in these last couple of hours. And his name is Mazraoui from Ajax. Now, many people might probably know him, and unless you're an Ajax fan, you probably know him after an incredible Ajax journey in the Champions League, beating Juventus, beating Real Madrid. Mazraoui was an Ajax player. So I do not know how much he can give an impact to this club, because I'm not sure the qualities he would bring to this club. But right now, I would say try Korsdorp more and try to grow Reynolds. Because Ajax is asking quite a fair amount of money for Mazraoui. They're asking 15 to 20 million for Mazraoui. And I am not too sure he's worth that amount of money. So before actually spending 20 million, which is a lot of money, Roma need to try and find the best Korsdorp, the best 100% fit Korsdorp. And then if they don't find Korsdorp, if they don't actually, really find Korsdorp back 100% fit, then Roma can consider buying a new right back. Because Korsdorp is not giving that impact he gave when Fonseca was a manager. And that is a negative note, because we expect way more from Korsdorp, especially if we compare last season to this season. So, obviously, Mazraoui is a player which would cover a position which Roma really needs to be covered. Because you can see the opponent's club when they're attacking, they are always exploiting on Korsdorp's weak defensive skills to try and score. And that is not good enough, because the second you start playing with top clubs, it can be chaos. So Roma need to, I would give Korsdorp November, October, the rest of October, November and December to try and get that 100%, form back on. But then if it doesn't happen, Roma need to buy someone else, because playing with Korsdorp not 100% fit is like playing with one player less, and it does bring a bad impact to the club. So obviously, I'm not criticizing Korsdorp here. I just want to see more from Rick Korsdorp. But the only thing I'm saying is, before buying Mazraoui, which is a player which he might be good, but he's not Marcelo. He's not prime Marcelo. Roma need to wait and see if they actually need Mazraoui, because once again, 20 million, 15 to 20 million, which is what Ajax is asking, is quite a fair amount of time. Plus, Mazraoui is a player, he comes from Morocco, which will play the African Cup in the months of January, February. So buying Mazraoui could also mean a waste of money, because if you buy Mazraoui and then he bloody plays for Morocco in the African Cup, then, you know, do you buy him? Because that is a waste of money. Because that means that he's back on March and he plays 3 months. And I'm not sure how much that is a good deal. So, obviously, injuries might happen. You know, so Mazraoui doesn't 100% convince me. Now, I don't follow the Dutch league, so I'm not in a position to judge him right now. But I'm not saying Mazraoui is not good enough. The only problem I have is, does Roma really need a new right back? Because if in these next 3 months, 2 months before Christmas, Roma actually find the best Karsdorp out there, then you don't need Mazraoui. Because once Karsdorp gets that 100% fitness back, Karsdorp is one of those players which barely gets injured. Obviously, he'll be tired, but, you know, I'm really not sure if the 20 million Ajax are asking are worth for Mazraoui. Now, obviously, we need to judge him more. But, yeah, these were the transfer market updates. We've got Borja Mayoral, who might, in fact, is almost about to leave Roma in January. Fiorentina are interested in him after Vlahovic refused to renew a contract with them. So that's the transfer market session. We need a striker. Abraham oftenly goes missing. Do we? I mean, maybe we do, but I think we need to prioritize other roles before buying a striker. What's him playing in the African Cup of Nations got to do with it? Well, because if Roma buy Mazraoui on January, that's when the transfer market session is open and you can actually buy someone, and you've got a player which you buy and then spends January and February playing for the African Cup, then it's like you bought him but he doesn't play for you, and then if he gets injured there, it's a waste of money. So, you know, do we buy let me know if you agree with me in the live chat. Do you all think Roma needs to buy a right back? You know, does Roma need to buy a new Karsdorp? Does Roma need to sell Borja Mayoral? Let me know in the live chat. How many games in those 3 months? We can make or break our season if we fall to get a plan B. That's exactly what I'm saying. If Roma, you know, buy Mazraoui and then Mazraoui spends 2 months playing in the African Cup, it basically means that you didn't buy him because he doesn't play for you. And that means that if Karsdorp is not 100% fit, you don't have Mazraoui, then Roma have a bloody, you know, well in their club, in their team, which is not great, especially in those months, which are the most important months of the season, in my opinion. After Christmas, it's the most important months out there, because it's all about how teams react after the Christmas break. It's all about how teams will continue their streak that they had before the Christmas break. And, you know, it's not the final push, but it's the preceding of a rival. It's that stage of the year where teams need to try and give that final push to then, you know, try and be secure themselves in their objectives. So January and February are very, very, very delicate months. And if Roma actually do need someone, I think they'll buy it. And I'm not gonna exclude Roma not buying. Roma will buy some players in January, right? We need to expect Roma buying them because we need defenders, maybe one defender. We definitely need a defender because, you know, we can see Smalling always gets injured. Kambula's not that experienced, and Mancini and Ibanez can't play every single match. So Roma definitely need a defender. Roma definitely need a defensive midfield section. Roma definitely needs someone who can replace Mkhitaryan's role if he doesn't play well. Hopefully the goal Mkhitaryan scored last weekend might unlock this series of bad results and will make Mkhitaryan actually boost back. That's what us Roma fans are hoping. But if Mkhitaryan doesn't turn up to matches, then Roma are forced to buy a new one, a new player. So I think Roma need to try and prioritize the players Roma actually needs before buying players which are not that necessary. Because you're talking about 4 months of action, right? January, February, March, April, and May. Sorry, 5 months of action will mean a lot. So it's in my opinion, it's all a matter of how the players proceed in these next months. Because, for example, as I said at the start, if Karsdorp starts performing back again, then Mazraoui is not needed. So I do think we need to see how these players will progress into these next few months, and then we can talk about transfer markets, actually valid updates. But I'm just giving these transfer market updates because it is very curious to see how Thiago Pinto and the Fredkins are working out the next players Roma need to buy quite a fair amount of time before the actual transfer market session. And plus, it's very curious to see. So, lads and lasses, this was a quick live stream about transfer market updates. Borja Mayoral will leave Roma in January. Fiorentina is interested in him now that Vlahovic has refused to renew his contract. And there have been rumors of Mazraoui covering Karsdorp's role, who's not 100% fit in these last couple of hours. So, lads, let's read some comments, shall we? African Cup is just 1 month, not 2. Sorry, man. I'm not that expert on the African Cup. It's something I really enjoy to watch, actually. I enjoy watching the African Cup, but I never actually have the chance of watching it because of jet lag and the time, because it's probably in the middle of the night here in Italy. But it's a competition I'll be very curious to see and probably watch the highlights of. Is he better than Vigna? Mazraoui? I can't say that, mate, because I know who Mazraoui is because of that incredible Champions League campaign Ajax did a few years back. But otherwise, I never seen the Dutch league before, so I can't really judge Mazraoui right now. You have a valid argument, but I think if the lad is actually good, we might see him go the other way. My Gran is better than Vigna. I think once again, Vigna needs time. Obviously, he's not been performing that well, but let's give him time, shall we? Roma does not need to let Mayoral go, but the problem is that Mourinho can't play all the players at the same time. Every club has a reserve bench. Why is Roma different? Now, this is something very, very, very interesting. Yesterday, I was at I do athletics as an after-school activity, right? And my manager there is a Roma fan as well. She's a lady. She's a Roma fan. And I finished running, and I asked her, how do you feel about Roma this season? And great, she said positive things, incredible things about Mourinho. But the only thing she said, which wasn't that convincing, is that if you compare Roma's reserves to other clubs in the Serie A, you see a kind of unbalanced seesaw, if you see what I mean. Because at the end of the day, she is right. Roma's reserves, or Roma's bench, is not one of those benches with players that can impact your match. Like, I sub them in and they bloody score a bicycle kick and get me the 3 points. And that is something Roma has been having since quite a fair amount of time. Roma cannot seem to improve their reserves. I think Roma's top 11 squad this season is great. Obviously, improvements need to be made, but up to now, it's good quality players. But in the sitting on the bench, apart from Shomurodov, apart from El Shaarawy, who does Roma have who can actually impact the match? And that's something I think Roma need to work on. Because I think Roma need to obviously buy players to improve the squad, the general squad, but at the same time, a few players which won't cost that amount of money, that much money, should be bought to sit on the bench. Now, this is controversial because every player wants to play. But I do think Roma's bench needs to improve because it gives me the impression that apart from a few players like Shomurodov and El Shaarawy, the rest of the players don't have that ability to get subbed in and boom, the impact is seen. Apart from El Shaarawy and Shomurodov, as I said before. Like, the depth of the squad is something Roma need to work on, in my opinion. What do you think of Zaniolo? I like his energy, but he seems to just run around like Lingard and do nothing. I think Zaniolo is great. Give him time, lads. Give him time, and Zaniolo will be boosting like mad. Karsdorp can't play every single game, week in, week out. We need a new right back. That's exactly what I'm saying. Karsdorp right now is not 100% fit and cannot play every single match. That's exactly what I said. In fact, this is what actually even started this live stream. I'm talking about Mazraoui. So, but the only point I'm saying, which I think Tino Muki doesn't agree with, is that if Karsdorp gets 100% fit, he is one of those players which barely gets injured. So if Karsdorp is 100% fit, he can play every single match. He has the abilities to do that. And then if he's tired a few matches, Reynolds can play. And that is an opportunity to grow Brian Reynolds even more. Obviously, I wouldn't start Reynolds in many, many matches. But, you know, I don't think Kala will start ahead of Vigna, but we'll see. Kala is not as flexible as Vigna. Kala needs to make that kind of passes and runs as Vigna does. Yeah, I think both players, Vigna and Calafiori, are two players which are not great defense-wise. But they're very similar players. They're these players which sprint, down, get the assists. You know, that's, at the end of the day, if they do that, we can forgive them for not defending. But obviously their role is a defender, and they need to improve. Defensive midfielder and right backs are the next targets. Agree with that, and I would add a centre back in that as well. Mayoral Shomurodov is depth, but you want to sell. When the Coppa Italia start? When the Coppa Italia starts, many of the reserve players will have playing. Exactly. But once again, the Coppa Italia is another good objective for Roma this season, and they do not need to underestimate these matches, because Roma have this terrible trend of underestimating Coppa Italia matches, that they get thrown off and battered by weak clubs. And I've got proof of this. Look at last season. Roma Spezia, which is a newly promoted club, ended 3-0 to Spezia because Fonseca, as a dumbass as he was, had 6 substitutions, and he could only have 5. And that was basically illegal, and they gave that win as a 3-0 to La Spezia. So, but Spezia would have won in any case. And then a few years back, Roma, once again against La Spezia, lost and got thrown after the Coppa Italia. Hopefully, they do not play against La Spezia, because they've got a very bad record of playing against La Spezia in the Coppa Italia. And the Coppa Italia, I can assure you, is one of those competitions which Roma can, you know, if with a bit of strength and concentration, it can become their main objective of the season. But they are in the last 3 years, they have been underestimating this tournament every single year. And every single year, they got battered and thrown out of it. So this year, with a new manager, like Jose Mourinho, winning mentality manager, and I'm sure everyone out there wants to see Roma not underestimating the Coppa Italia. So I do agree that players which don't have that much time will play, But at the same time, it's like the Europa Conference League. It's the exact same thing. Mourinho obviously is not one of those players which can play, which completely changed the squad. He's just not like that. He will include some top players as well as some new players. Like in the Europa Conference League, it's the exact same thing. And he needs to keep on doing that even in the Coppa Italia. The reserve players I like at the moment are Kala, Darboy and Smalling. Yeah, and El Shaarawy I'd say as well. I think El Shaarawy, if he needs to be fit. El Shaarawy is one of those players which has to be fit to actually give a good impact. But when he's fit, El Shaarawy is top class. Right, lads, it was a quick live stream talking about transfer market updates. Borja Mayoral out and Mazraoui in, or the latest news that journalists are building up and telling us Roma fans the 7th of October with quite a few months going until the transfer market session. But once again, people who think it's too early to start talking about the transfer market session, it is very, very interesting to see Thiago Pinto and the Fredkins moving and how their logic is to buy the new players. So yeah, I mean, now that we don't have live watch-alongs, expect more injury, more transfer market updates and happy days. And slowly we'll get back to normal live watch-alongs, Mourinho's press conferences, the OG videos. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have to see Mayoral playing the whole 90 minutes under Josie to give him a fair assessment. But I can easily tell you we can do better. That's true. So yeah, lads, if you're new here, please subscribe, like this live stream as soon as it becomes a video. Follow me on Instagram at @lowerscore the Simon Show and click the first or second link, the Google form link, down in the description below to access the Google form, answer some questions which are all about improving the Simon Show under your point of view, under a subscriber's point of view, and it will help me, Alex, Chuck and Gary to improve the channel the best way possible. So it's the Google form link down below. It takes 5 minutes. It literally takes less than 5 minutes, and it is actually really fun to do. So do it please, and it helps us a lot. And good night, take care, and I'll catch you tomorrow with another live stream. Simon out.